Yes, men are competitive by nature. But, the reason behind a man's natural reaction to always wanting to come out on top lies in their evolution. When cavemen had to impress their female counterparts, everything was a competition, and even today, it seems this fact is as accurate as ever. Everyone knows that one guy. The one that walks around in a blizzard of cold in nothing but shorts and a t-shirt. Well, there is some science behind this. Due to the male body consisting of more muscle tissue, men have, in general, a lower resting body temperature. This, in turn, aids their bodies in retaining heat more efficiently. One of the most envious advantages of being a man is their fast metabolic rate. It just seems to perform a lot quicker compared to that of women. This is because they burn more energy daily, thanks to their lean muscle tissue. As odd as it might sound, men can lactate. Just as women are born with mammary glands, men are also born with these glands. So technically, men can lactate if their bodies experience a spike in the hormone prolactin. It needs to be a significant spike, so cases of this happening aren't that many. Erectile dysfunction is a lot more common than men would have you believe. Beyond the awkward moments it can create, it could be a significant warning sign concerning health issues. These include heart disease, high blood pressure, and high blood sugar. Have you ever thought about the science behind an erection? No. Well, here's the answer you probably didn't want. When a man is sexually aroused, neurotransmitters in the brain release nitric oxide, NO, into the body. This, in turn, increases the arterial blood flow into the penis, causing an erection. And no, this isn't a metaphor. Men really have thicker skin. Studies have shown that a man's skin is about 25% thicker when compared to that of a woman. This is attributed to their higher levels of testosterone. Maybe the term PMS isn't entirely correct. Men also go through bouts of immense hormonal changes. This causes PMS-like symptoms such as irritability, fatigue, stomach cramps, and hunger. On average, men see fewer shades of color. This is thanks to a lower number of retinal cones present within their eyes. The prominence of these cones is connected to the presence of the X chromosome, of which men only have one. Everyone loves a hero, and men especially love to be the hero. Now, before you shake your head and attribute this to their egos, that's not the case. Psychologists have coined the term a hero instinct, and every man has it. This causes men to step up to be the hero instinctively. This is another one of those instincts that seem illogical but is nonetheless a common shared trait amongst men. That is, to be jealous, especially when it comes to those close to their significant others. Be it the boy or girlfriend. The tendency to display jealousy over any relationship is expected. Believe it or not, it has been studied and concluded that men are more sensitive to physical pain than women. Because they're more susceptible to it, they instinctively become more aware of it. This is also the reason they deal with grief and sadness in a different way. A man's ability to complete multiple tasks simultaneously isn't just an illusion. Scientists have recorded that men can naturally focus on more than one or two tasks at a time. Women, on the other hand, tend to lose focus slightly quicker than their male counterparts. There is quite a bit of science behind men who are unfaithful in a relationship. Marital psychologists, for example, have delivered results from studies on men who cheat. The result was that men with a lower average IQ tend to cheat more. Men like to let their eyes wander, which isn't just in reference to some men. A survey done by the Kodak Lens Vision Center found that a man spends roughly 1 year of their lifetime staring at members of the opposite sex. A global study done in 2018 by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime revealed that 58% of all women killed in a homicide meet their ends at the hands of their intimate partners. In this study, shockingly, 137 women are killed by their boyfriends/husbands daily. A survey conducted by the Daily Mail in Britain found that, on average, a man tells from 6 to 10 lies a day. The same study found that women tell between 3 and 5 lies a day. Beyond the genetic aspects of going bald, unless you look like Vin Diesel or Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, you'd imagine it a bad thing. Well, this is not the case. Evolution has resulted in men who are bald or have shaved heads being considered 13% taller than men with a full head of hair, a study found. This isn't really that surprising. Well, it depends on who you're asking. But, because men have a more substantial visually stimulated neural chemistry, in all walks of life, watching porn affects their brains significantly, thus resulting in them watching and enjoying it more. When a man is in love, or lust, a chemical known as phenylethylamine, P, is produced more significantly in the brain. Now, while this has a lot of effects on a man's behavior, one thing that it does is cause an impairment in judgment. Thus, men in love struggle to make decisions. To men, a sign of their masculinity lies in their ability to master any task or conquer any obstacle. In everyday life, though this is often not the case, it is then when men have to ask for help. It's really an ego thing, but to most men, an external plea for help is seen as a sign of weakness. In 2013, data from the National Electronic Injury Surveillance System, NICE, revealed that 2,000 men in the USA are admitted to the ER annually for zipper-related injuries. So while the zipper is a necessity in clothing, it can get in the way. Although not common knowledge, it is estimated that 1 in every 100 men will have a third nipple. Known in the medical world by many different terms, this nipple is often not fully developed and is merely, for lack of a better word, decorative. In a research paper from the American Heart Association, it is reported that during autopsies done on 5,559 male victims of cardiac arrest, 34% occurred during intercourse. Background studies to this one revealed that of that 34%, nearly 93% of the heart attacks occurred during extramarital intercourse. The University of the West Indies determined in 2019 that men's average life expectancy is about 64 years. Women, on the other hand, have a life expectancy of 68 years. Sadly, throughout a man's life, the average duration of a male orgasm is only 6 seconds. In comparison, the average female orgasm lasts for 23 seconds. If there were ever a more biased community than Hollywood, they'd have to outdo themselves to topple the biggest trend in Hollywood. This, of course, is that about 75% of all leading roles in blockbuster movies are written for men. Men got one thing right, the invention of high-heeled shoes. Dating back to the 10th century, Persian soldiers designed the first pairs of high-heel shoes. Specifically, archers wore these to balance their feet and increase their aiming accuracy. As truly sad and heartbreaking as suicide is, statistics have shown that while women tend to attempt suicide, men are 3 to 4 times more likely to succeed. On average, per year, for every 100 baby girls that are born, 107 baby boys are born. This statistic is also a significant indicator of the growing trend in countries such as China, where roughly 40 million men in 2020, in the typical age gap for marriage, were left unmarried. While exercise has abundant benefits for both males and females, the way it affects the body differs between genders. Where women burn more fat during exercise, men burn more carbohydrates. Women, on average, have 50 more neurons in their olfactory bulbs, which is the part of the brain responsible for processing smells and tastes. This means that men process certain scents and tastes far slower than women. Blame it on evolution, but men instinctively have a massive need to be a provider. Regardless of what is being provided, food, shelter, or safety, it is programmed into a man's evolutionary thread to act as a provider. If they can't, they are more prone to depression. Men are very persistent. That is commonly known. Psychological research has shown that because of a man's higher sense of pride, they will not stop pursuing something until they achieve it. The opposite is also true. If a man simply doesn't want to do something, it won't get done. Okay, so the dark side doesn't sound good, but in actuality, This means that men are prone to experience negative emotions. Psychologically, this is attributed to men putting themselves in dangerous situations, either by choice or accidentally. This also leads to men expressing negative emotions more often than women do. Humans, in general, are social creatures. Men, however, seem to be more socially aware than women. This is thanks to their higher levels of testosterone, which drives their need to be dominating and seen in social settings. A lonely man is a very sad man. Genetically, men are more inclined to seek the company of others. Being around other people creates a sense of security in the mind of a man, and thus, feelings of loneliness affect men more often. Although it might not seem like it, men thrive on feedback from others. Going hand in hand with their need to be surrounded by people, men tend to excel and achieve better things when done after receiving input from external parties. Emotions are one of the few things in the world that everyone experiences daily. How you handle them might be unique to you, but there is some gender-based science behind it. In general, men struggle a bit more to express and process emotion. This is due to them being more logically oriented than women. It might seem like some sort of medieval conditioning, but men operate on a praise and reward system. In fact, psychologically, men tend to perform better when given praise or offered a reward. And it doesn't even need to be a shower of praise. Really, any recognition seems to do the trick. Let's get this one out of the way right from the start. The male body also includes a G-spot, elusive as it might be to some. According to scientists, beyond its primary functions, the male prostate doubles as a center point for many nerves. Stimulation of the prostate has been recorded as delivering quite a lot of pleasure. First, a man's Adam's apple is more prominent than a woman's because of a larger voice box. Secondly, and ladies, listen up, a research paper published in Psychology Today revealed that men are more likely to admit their love for someone first. By a 3-to-1 ratio, at that. It might be because of a man's penchant for dangerous situations, but men are more likely to get struck by lightning. At least 5 times more than women. Next time there's a thunderstorm, maybe keep the men locked inside. Well, there you have it. A whole bundle of the most interesting facts about men. Sometimes they can seem more complicated than a Rubik's Cube, and at other times as simple as falling out of a tree, which happens a lot. While the jury is still out on their planetary origins, hopefully, armed with these facts about guys, you'll decide to keep them around.